I want to bring your attention about this fantastic relationship. What page do you have? 128. So look together with me, please, that before we get even to here, the new name, Yehonatan, where until now he's called Yonatan, and he's added a letter of one of the letters of God's name. Rav Bachrach, in his great humility, is one of the best top Tanakh teachers, brings here on page 127 of this Sefer on the royalty here. Yehonatan, do you see it? You know 127? So then I'll tell you. Yonatan, what do you hear? Yehonatan. He's ready to give, like God is. God is always giving. Do you remember what's stated here after they make a pact, an agreement in Pasuk Daled? Vayitpashet Yonatan et ha'me'il asher alav. Takes off the cloak, the coat that's on him. Vayitneu leDavid umada v'ad charbo v'ad kashto v'ad chagoro. So this is something fantastic. Yonatan gives whatever he has to David. Now, we mentioned Yonatan is probably standing next to Shaul, and when David comes after the battle with Goliath, no well done, no beer, no celebration. We said yesterday that it could be that who feels the insult? Who feels the insult? Maybe Yonatan feels the insult. We're going to learn about David, that he's like one of these great tzaddikim that Rav Kook writes about, that Chazal say, Hane'elavim ve'einam ovim. Have you heard about that? It's in Rav Kook's literature. Those that are insulted, but they don't insult back, because they're really not insulted. They don't even give back. So it could be that stands as if he's insulted in front of Shaul, because Shaul did not accept him with any love, any thanks, any blessing about his victory and the salvation. Therefore, who feels for David? Yonatan so much. That's why maybe what it says right after Vayikechalato ledaber Shaul, why does it appear right here? After David finishes speaking with Shaul and answering, I'm your servant, I'm ready for anything, I think Yonatan, or it could be that Yonatan feels the insult, the lack of respect given to him to award him. And therefore, who runs to pacify him? Who's running here to pacify David? Yonatan is. Okay? Let's read together on the top of 128 here and get a better, deeper understanding of this relationship, why Yonatan is doing what he's doing. I'm reading in Hebrew on page 128 in this source sheet. Yonatan asher gish be'el beno shel David. Right? He feels the insult. Ve'ivin lenafsho, he understands deeply yoter mikulam. Remember, who's a great warrior? Yonatan is. He sees the great talent of David, what he did, and not looking for reward, and he's not being prized. He feels the insult. Wasn't Yonatan in the same situation? Let's see and draw the correlation between Yonatan and David. Remember his victory over the Plishtim in the Michmash area? Sam nafsho b'chapo. He put his life at stake. Remember how many soldiers was Yonatan? He and an arms bearer against an army. Okay? Vayachet ha'plishtim, yet he struck them. Vayasa Yeshua gdola zot b'Yisrael, as we learned in chapter 14. He did a great salvation. Okay? Pasuk zeh, this pasuk, Amru shama Yonatan, he made a great salvation. Vehu atzmo chazar alav v'skiro David b'Perek Yudalet. The same connotation said about Yonatan defeating the Plishtim, he will state about David in a chapter from now. The same David that's not awarded, that's not praised, we don't say thank you to him whatsoever. V'hinei, the next line. Kasher tama milchama, when the war ended, ha'am lo sam lev alav, v'lo shal mi masar nafsho aleihem. Do you remember in chapter 14? No one reacted. No one asked, gee, who was it that went ahead and attacked the Plishtim and gave up his life? Nothing whatsoever. What did the nation do yet? They went ahead and benefited from the spoil, the booty. And there were some even mistakes made where they ate from the sacrifices before the blood was spilled on the altar, as one example. So here you see repetition. No one is saying, Kol hakavod David, especially not Shaul. Gam Shaul aviv, ki'ilu shachecho, velo shal lavod. Even Shaul the father, when he finds out that it was his son that did this great act of warriorness, career, great things, right? Did he say anything? Did he ask his son, what did you do? No, Shaul didn't ask anything. Vayomer Shaul nerda acharei plishtim laila v'navoza bem. All Saul said, we're narrating something before we're looking inside, but it's certainly important to know the Tanakh. We're talking about this point that David has defeated Goliath. No one makes a press conference. No one makes a celebration. We think and understand in behind the words that Yonatan feels the insult for David, that no one's praising him. And it reminds him of what happened 4 chapters ago when he, with his arms barrier, surprised attacked the Plishtim in Michmas. And also no one asked, how did you do this? How did you go ahead and be so courageous and do it? Wow, kol hakavod, let's have a beer, let's drink a l'chaim. So we see that the short history, even though it's a small time span, is repeating itself. Here, Saul doesn't ask anything, just like he didn't ask there about Yonatan when Yonatan defeated the Plishtim. Let's keep on reading. V'kasher sha'al Shaul be'elokim. Point to the place so you can see the Hebrew as well. V'kasher sha'al Shaul be'elokim v'lo anau nilkad Yonatan bedamim. How did Shaul find out? He drew lots. When he drew lots, he found out that who was the one that did it? It was Yonatan. And then what did Shaul say to his son? Vayomer Shaul Yonatan, Ma'asita, what did you do? I'm sorry, that was regarding the matter of eating the honey, exactly. And he asks his son, what did you do? The response, Vayagelo Yonatan Vayomer Ta'om Ta'amti. I tasted. B'ktzeh at the edge of my staff, Asher b'yadi ma'at dvash. Hineni amut, I'm ready to die. And what does Shaul say? Ko yaseh Elokim v'ko Yosef kimo tamut Yonatan. Shaul was ready to have his son killed because he made a what? What did Shaul do? He made more than a neder, he made a shavua, an oath. Now, there was certainly a mistake the way Shaul managed this matter, because Israel's in a doldrum and Yonatan is waking up the Jewish people to fight against the Plishtim, and he's fasting and not eating, and he needs some strength. He didn't even hear about the oath of Shaul, his father. Did you think that Yonatan forgave his father for this fatal mistake that he was almost ready to kill him? Yonatan vadai salach. What does salach mean? Yonatan certainly forgave le'aviv al shki'ato v'shigigato, about his mistake and his shogeg. Shogeg meaning doing things, something not wantingly, accidentally. Ku yada et ke'evo. Now let's go back to our chapter. The stand that's happening right now. 40 days. Goliath goes out. Dares someone to come in and attack him. No one does it. David shows up on the spot being sent with a care package from Beit Lechem from his father. And he's amazed, wondered, astonished. How is no one waking up and trying to remove the shame of this guy cursing the camp of Israel? Okay? Still, the insult of no one going out to tell Yonatan, wow, kol hakavod to you, it's hard to forget. In other words, he forgave his father. It's likely to say he's a tzaddik, Yonatan, right? But he's also a warrior. And now he sees what David did against Goliath. What is he thinking in his mind? Wow, I did the same thing. No one was struck to observe and say, thank you for doing this. Well, great work. And no one here, after David doing what he did to Goliath, no one's awarding him. What did the nation do to save Yonatan? They redeemed him, the text said. Vayifdu ha'am et Yonatan. Rabbi Elazar omer natnu mishkalo zahav upadu. According to Midrash, good parts of the nation donated to the treasury gold, and that saved the life of Yonatan. Now, Yonatan, the recipient of being redeemed, of his life being saved and not being killed, he wants to do the same thing to who? To David. David stands right now in an insulting situation. He did what he did, and no one says, wow, kol hakavod for you, what you did. Who feels the insult of David's heart? Someone has a big soul. Ve'ata and now. See the new paragraph? Ve'ata and now. Pada Yonatan et David me'el bano. Now, what is Yonatan doing? He's redeeming David from his insult. Is he giving the weight of gold? V'natan mishkalo. What is he giving? Ahava azah. Strong love. What is strong love defined as? Kin nafsho, like his own soul. Just like you love your own self, your own inner being, your own soul. That's what Yonatan is willing to do on behalf of David. I'm willing to love you like I love myself. I'm willing to do for you like I love myself. What attracted? In addition to this idea, what attracted the mind, the nefesh of Yonatan? What did he see in David? Did he only see the insult? Or did he also see positive traits that made him a soulmate? One is courage. Very nice. V'yesh mehem shamro. There are those that explain the following way. Kilo be'el bano ra Yonatan David be'ota shah. It wasn't just the insult that he saw at that moment. Ki'im b'gvurat anvataneto. Gentlemen, there's humility and there's courageous humility. David is not looking for a press conference. He's not looking for a Volvo with a pension plan, with servants, standing at his feet and saying, the master is so great, you're so great. He's not looking for starlight. David has courageous humility. I don't need a favor. I don't need to be prized. I'm doing what anyone should do. I want to say the following thing. I forgot if it's chapter 18 or 19 in the Mesilat Yesharim. Okay, maybe it's 20 already. Of the path of the just, of Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato. When he talks about that we should not take issue and look for praise, to be praised for our great actions, or look for attention because of our great actions. He explains logically, you're doing what you know how to do. Let's just take an example. Let's just say theoretically that David Zemer knows mathematics. And he teaches mathematics on such a good level. Look, he's blessed with the talent of understanding and teaching mathematics. He doesn't have to brag about it. You know why? That's him. That's his nature. That's part of him. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Okay? Someone that's gifted in a certain field, that's what God gave him. What are you bragging about? That's what God gave you, that gift. You're doing your function, like Rabbi Gon talks about in class. You're doing your role, your function in life. What are you bragging about? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're natural. Okay? Okay? Let's say you're a wine expert. He learned it. He excelled in it. He's good in it. What is he bragging about? That's him. That's what he's supposed to be. If he's not going to do it, oy vavoy. We'll give him a clap. We'll hit him over the head. Torah expert. Okay. I want to be a Torah expert. So therefore, David, there's Gvurat Anava. Gvurat Anava is Your courage is so great, and your humility is so great. Oi, you know what? I'm like David. David is like me. Just like when he overcame the Plishtim, he didn't ask for a press conference, for a raise in salary. He didn't ask for anything, did he? Wow, look at David. No one says, Kol hakavod, that you overcame Goliath. No one says, wow, you deserve a few more stripes on your shoulders. You deserve a 10-day vacation at the Hyatt Hotel or something like that. He doesn't say, wow, I'm like him. He's like me. Let's read this comment. Gvurato shel David, in the smaller print, you see it on the bottom? Gvurato, this great courage of David, the power. Yachad im anvantano. He has courage and power together with humility. Utzniuto, and together with modesty. Niglu le'einei Yonatan. That caught the eyes of Yonatan. These three attributes. Power, humility, and modesty. Hurat David omed lifnei Shaul. He saw. He was summoned. He was brought there by who brought him there? Avner Bener, right? Avner Bener brings him. He comes there. What's in his hand? The head of Goliath. He's standing before Shaul. Me'achorav, behind him is the action of courage that he overcame Goliath. And what is it? V'David zeh ha'ro'oi l'tila l'tiferet. He's worthy of accepting what? We're reading in Hebrew over here. L'tila, can I look together with you? Thank you so much. He's worthy of praise and glory. Okay? Omet kafuf lifnei Shaul. How does he stand, figuratively speaking? Bent over before Shaul. Why is he bent over? He's humbling himself. He's not looking for a press conference, for gold, silver. He's not looking for a raise in salary, a raise in pension plan. He's even bent over. When Shaul asks him, who are you the son of? And he says, I'm the son of your servant. My father, meaning Yishai. Okay? Einbo rahav ugvura chitzonit. There are people that are boasting outwardly about their power, their courage, this and that. He's not like that. Ela yeshbo sheket. He's quiet. Uminucha nafshit. He has spiritual and emotional inner tranquility. In other words, we're standing here learning this section. We're saying, why is it happening now that Yonatan expresses his love, his affiliation, his connection to the soul of David? And we thought to say, you know what? One point was, probably David is insulted that he's not even praised for killing Goliath. And another opinion says, no. You know why it's coming out now, his affiliation, his love to David? Because he sees in David what he has in himself. This power on one hand, but the modesty and humility on the other hand, and not even asking for praise or glory. Yonatan ra'aba b'David bitachon yatzuk. What does David have in the eyes of Yonatan? Cemented security, trust in God. As if it's so strong it can't even bend. Amok, v'shorashi, so deep, so rootful. Ein bo rav ugvura chitzonit. There's no boasting, like we said. And now, can you find a pasuk in Psalms that expresses this soul character trait, this being quiet and not even asking for anything? So Rabbi Bachrach finds it in Tehillim Kuf Lamed Aleph, which is 131. Very good. Imlo shiviti vidomamti. If I didn't place, meaning words, vidomamti, and I was silent, nafshi kigamul alei imo. My soul will be bestowed, kagamul alei nafshi, like the bestowing upon myself, on my soul. I'm trying to understand this pasuk better. Do we have a Tehillim here with a commentary? One second.
I have Menachem, so you guys soon. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
In Kuf Lamed Aleph, the special Prakim of David, it's the first, no, it's not the first Shir Aleph, it's Kuf Lamed Aleph. He says the following, Imlo Shiviti. He explains it. If I didn't swear, David says the following, Lo Gavali Bi, my heart did not raise me. David is expressing words of humility here in 131. My eyes didn't raise, I didn't look for big things and for wonders greater than me. Imlo Shiviti Vidomamti. David is saying, according to the commentary here, if I did not take a shvuah, even though it's written with a vav and not a vet, had I not taken an oath, then maybe, he said, I took an oath upon myself to be humble, to be modest. Had I not taken an oath, vidomamti, and be quiet, nafshiki gamul alai. What is he saying here? שמתי אותי כגמול עלי אמו כמו תינוק שיגמול משדה אמו שיתחיל מעט להתבונן בעניין גידול המלאך I think what David is saying in the general rule here is that I'm not looking to be bestowed favors and thank yous and all these things. I know God will take care of me. And therefore he says, let Israel have hope in God. So I think one of these are the expressions of David's great modesty and humility that we see here. That's David. Now this catches the attention of Yonatan. Yafim kol advarim elo, on page 129. Yafim kol advarim elo. Thank you. Lasbir et miniava. Now we can understand what's activating, what's motivating the love between Yonatan to David. Aval. No, you can love someone, you can appreciate, admire someone. Let's just say David Adler, he learns from the Rabbi behind him over here. He loves that Rabbi so much. Do you see that he's giving him his coat? He's giving him his shoes to wear. He gives him his pen and his pencil. Is he giving his own private properties to the rabbi that he loves so much he learns from? We don't see that happening. Because David is not yet David HaMelech. But what does Yonatan do? Are you willing, because you love someone, to give everything you have, that you own, to him? Klomar, meaning, at this moment he's so excited about his affinity, adoring David so much. Let me ask you something. You said yesterday, David, that probably who might think he's next in line to be the king? Yonatan. Yonatan's uniform, Yonatan's sword. What else was there that he gave him?
His spear and his jab and his bow.
What did he give him? Madav, Charbo, Kashto, Chaguro, his belt, his bow and arrow. What? Keshet.
I confused with the armory of Troll.
Okay. Now, isn't that symbolizing who's your sword, your uniform? Isn't that representing the next king's uniform? And you're giving it to who? Wow. You're forsaking the position you think you're ready to be the next king. Yonatan is courageous. Yonatan is great. He's a big tzaddik. Yes? Hayim mutar lasot? Because you love someone, you're allowed to give up all your personal equipment, making you the next king? Vareya melucha shel aviv hi The kingdom really belongs to the Father. Asher bachar bo Hashem, God chose. Hello, certainly. Ki mashcho Hashem lenagid an achalato. Isn't right now Shaul still the king? And how are you giving away what you think you're going to be the next king? You're giving it to David. It's not a simple thing. התרגלנו לקרוא במקרא מהר ולשפוט מהר לפי גרסא דינקותא ותוך כדי הדילוגים מחזירים אנו עיקרים מן הספר. You know, sometimes we read the Tanakh fast, we read the Chumash fast, and we judge based upon what we remember from a year ago and 2 years ago and 10 years ago. And when we skip over things, we're going to miss some things which are important. Nidme, it appears. Ki b'chol limudenu lo ra'inu b'tzarat nafsho sheyonatan atzmo. When we learned the former chapters, we skipped over something important. That who is in pain, who felt insulted, who was going through hard times? Yonatan. Asher natal alav dilemma no'ezet v'ko'evet. Asher targizet chayav me'ayom v'ad yom acharon. Gentlemen, whether it was going up to fight the Plishtim, and then eating the honey that night, and not getting awarded, and nothing doing, and maybe during these 40 days he wants to go out, but he's prevented. We've never talked about the dilemma that Yonatan is going through, the pain that he's going through. He sees what's happening with his father, that he's saddened, and he's in pain. We don't deal with that often. Ki yom yom yelech v'yikrat libo. Ben avato leDavid uven avato leAviv. Ki kmo zo Kain gamzo nifla hitala. We're now going to start a new chapter of events where Yonatan is challenged. Yehonatan is challenged. On the one, he's the son of his father. He has to love his father. On the other hand, he has so much affinity and love for David, and we're going to see and watch now that who's going to pursue to kill David? How do you manage in such a dilemma? Are you not torn in between two loves? Your Abba and David? Hello, certainly. Bishat chesed shel emet. When it'll come for the time to give real testimony, He'id David ba'atzmo, David himself will testify. Alavatam mufla'ah shel ha'av v'aben. David himself will testify about this amazing relationship between father and son, meaning Shaul and Yonatan. Umiu kamo ne'eman hayalzad. He didn't make it up. He's faithful. He's very true to himself. Hein mivasro, hein mibisaro chaza, ketzad nechlaku levavam beglalo, uvechol zot lo rafta avatam lazalazah. He sees how special what happens on the mountain of the Gilboa Mountains when who are killed by the Plishtim? Beginning of chapter Shmuel Bet, father and son are killed by the Plishtim. Who will deliver a eulogy for them? David. This is the time when Shaul is pursuing to kill David. And now Shaul goes to war with Yonatan, and they both are killed. When it comes to the eulogy of David, quote, this is used today in many eulogies about how we lose Giborim in war in the Israeli army. Shaul v'Yonatan, hane'avim, that were loving one another, v'ni'imim b'chayehem, and they were so pleasant, meaning to one another in their lives, uvemotam lo nifradu, but when they died, they were not separated. They died together. They went up to heaven together. Or as the Radak says, ki ke'echad metu, they died. The Radak says, they died together. In the same word, the same moment. Kimo shayu b'chayehem nehavim zelazeh. Just like they loved one another, okay, despite the fact that Shaul was so jealous, was so crazy in hot pursuit to kill David, Yonatan never lost his love for his father, which is a great feat. How do you do that? When you know your father's making a tremendous mistake by trying to kill who? By trying to kill David? So David saw the love, the unending love that Yonatan had for his father, and he said, just like they were together during their lifetime, and they loved one another, so too, they died together. They died together. Uh-huh. Do you remember when you learned do you remember what Jonathan tried to draw up the dead and to get an answer what will happen in the war? And he draws up the spirit of Shmuel, Samuel the prophet. All right, we see this at the end of the book of Shmuel. And when he asked, will I win the war? And what is he told? You're not going to win the war. You're going to die. Yet what did Shaul do? With great courage, he went and led Israel to war. And remember when he was hit on the chariot and he's bleeding to death, he refuses to tell his driver, take me to the infirmary. Take me for medical treatment. Why? When we learn that chapter, we'll notice he apparently doesn't want to lower the morale of his fellow soldiers. And he bleeds to death and he dies, and he asked his own arms bearer, take that sword and kill me. I don't want to be killed finally by the Plishtim. When he went to the war, who did he take to the war? Let's read this paragraph here. Vayitein Hashem gam et Yisrael amcha biad Plishtim. The answer he gets from Samuel after his life, when he draws up the spirit of the dead, God will deliver Israel in the hands of the Plishtim. Umachar, and tomorrow, Samuel tells him, Ata uvanecha imi. You and your kids are going to be with me. Me meaning where? In heaven. Samuel is dead already. Miyad. Rav Bachrach adds the word miyad. What action does or does he not take Shaul after hearing this cursed answer? Quote, it says in chapter 28 of Shmuel Aleph, Vayimaher Shaul Vayipol milokomoto arza. He hurried. He hurried to get to the war. Miyad, the Midrash Shmuel says, Vayikra Rabbah, Yatzala he took his 3 kids. Number 1, Yehonatan. Number 2, Avinadav. Number 3, Malkishua. Be'ota sha'a, at that moment, the Midrash says, Kara kadosh baruch hu lemalachei hasharet. God calls out to the ministerial angels. You have it? V'amar lem, and God says to the malachim, Bo ure'u bria shabarati ba'olami. I want you to notice, Malachei Hasharet, what kind of creation I have that I've created in this world. He's referring to Shaul. Look how unique and special. This is amidst all the mistakes and the terrible things that he did in his jealousy going after David. The Midrash says, B'noach shebolam, the practice in the world is the following. Adam olech lebeita mishteh. If a man goes to a party, Eino notel banav imo. He doesn't take his kids with him to the party. Mipnei marit ayin. We don't want all these tzaddikim to be one party drinking l'chaim. It'll give a maris ayin. It'll give a bad eye. Okay? V'zeh. I'm adding but this one, yotzei milchama. Shaul's going out to the war. So what? V'yodea be'emet. He knows truthfully, he believes in the message he received yesterday from Samuel the prophet. That what will happen to him? Sheyeh hareg. What's going to happen to Shaul in the war? He's going to die. V'notel banav imo. Yet he's still what? Taking his kids with him. V'sameach al shmirat hadin pogatbo. Wow. What a powerful sentence. He is doing with simcha, with full faith. He accepted the din, and he did not hesitate. He was not reluctant to take his kids with him to the war.
Why did he want to bring his sons with him in the war if he's also sure that he's going to die?
Because that's what the message was. And we still have to fight the enemies. The message was, you and your kids are going to meet with me in heaven. So he accepted the din. It's a very difficult situation. And when they die, David eulogizes them. How can these Giborim fall? And I'm so sorry. David could have killed Shaul halachically because he was in hot pursuit to kill David, which is illegal. And he could have, but he didn't want to touch the king. And now he's moaning for the loss. Rabbi Bachrach continues, Hatalmidim, he's talking about his own students who are teachers. Balei Dimayon, they have great wide imaginations. Heitivu l'rot et avat Yonatan leDavid. When we learn about these chapters, we see the great love that Yonatan has for David. Bivo barishona, l'nagein lifnei Shaul aviv. Okay? Yonatan notices this guy David that arrives and plays music before Shaul his father. Yonatan, shaya yad yamino shel aviv, bevadai haya rishon shikir b'shinui sheitcholel b'nafsho b'sur Hashem imo. Of all people to know what left Shaul when he became saddened, when his face changed colors, when jealousy and hatred entered into his emotions and feelings, who do you think noticed it first? Yonatan, of course, noticed it first. He's the son. He's the son of all his kids. He's such a warrior, Gibor. V'ulai gam gilalo Shaul et asher amar lo Shmuel. Could it be that Shaul revealed the prophecy of Shmuel to his own son Yonatan? Quote, Kara Hashem et mamlechut Yisrael me'alecha. Maybe he told his son Yonatan, you know what God did? Through Samuel the prophet? He tore up my kingdom. Why would he tell Yonatan? Ki hu ish sodo. He's his man of secrets. His leadership is aided by Yonatan. Certainly would tell him. Hine lo yaseh avi davar gadol davar katon vayilag ele et oznai umadu yaster mimeni et davar hazeh. Later on, we want to know, does Shaul still hate David? What does David say? No. My father would never do something so important or even something minuscule and not reveal it to me. So now that we hear from Yonatan that he's the man of confidence that his father has. He shares with Yonatan everything. So do you think that Yonatan doesn't know that his father's kingdom has been what? Torn. Worried what Shaul's going to do to Yonatan. This is the next page? Yes. V'hine Hofia ze ha'ilem. This hidden man arrives at the end of the war after Goliath. Hayodea nagan bekinor. He knows how to play the harp. V'umatzliach kol kach lativ le'aviv. And he knows so much good to do with the father of Yonatan. We saw the psukim v'ruach l'shaul v'tovlo. He uplifted his spirits. He felt better now. B'kinaro mufla, his wonderful harp. Who meshiv l'shul et ruach Hashem asher sara mimenu. David is so talented that in his playing of music, he can restore to Shaul the great spirit that has left him. What did Shaul then decide to do? What did he decide to do? Vayaveu me'od. There was love between Shaul and David. And he makes him nosei kelav. If Shaul finds so much love and favor and expresses it to Yonatan, what do you think David has found the grace in the eyes of Yonatan? Probably. If my father loves David, then doesn't he? I should love David as well. Mistaber, it's reasonable to say. Ki David matzachen gam beinei Yonatan. Not only does David find favor in the eyes of Shaul, but he finds favor in the eyes of Yonatan. Ukaviv kam gen, just like his father, so too he is. Heichel lehovatom. In other words, if we wanted to source, where is the beginning of the love of Yonatan to David? It's probably at the same time that David arrives on the scene playing music to him. Uvadai gam nimshach libo elav. Not only does he love him, his heart is attracted to him. Bioto shomani ginotav. You don't think Yonatan likes Hasidic music? Or was it classic music that David is playing? We don't know. Maybe it was Southern jazz. Okay? We don't know. But don't you think Yonatan is in the room, in the area where his father is listening to the music? Don't you think it finds favor in the eyes of Yonatan? In other words, Rabbi Bachrach is doing is we're searching and seeing and understanding how this development arises from one stage to the other, the great love that David and Yonatan have for one another. Ki me'acharei pargod shel aviv, maybe behind the screen of his father, haya yoshev b'seiter, maybe Yonatan is sitting there quietly, secretly, mevin, umazin, umakshiv, he's listening, he's hearing. Hein gam Yonatan haya yodea nagen v'navon davar. Isn't Yonatan also someone that knows how to play music? Huh?
Could be.
He's asking. Remember when Doeg Adomi says, you need someone that knows how to play music? That's a Gibor Chayil. He's an Ish Milchama, he's an Ish Toar. That Pasuk Doeg said, in order to arouse jealousy. In order to arouse jealousy.
Between Jonathan and
Oh, Yonatan and David. In other words, when the Chazal taught us who was the person that suggested David, it's Doeg Adomi. He wants to play with fire. Maybe Yonatan thinks that he's going to be the next king. I'm going to arouse his jealousy against David because I don't want David either. And they're going to fight one another. You know what you need, King Saul? You need someone that knows how to play, that's a warrior, a man of war, is a good-looking man. All of that was for the purpose of jealousy. But now let's ask ourselves. We know and understand the great attributes of Yonatan. Was he jealous at any moment of David? Absolutely not. Aval. Skip to the next paragraph. Aval. Yonatan lo kine. He wasn't jealous. Velo chalshad dato. He didn't become weakened in the appearance of David. Adarabah. Hu haya sameach lakir David. He was so happy to meet him. Ulit kasher imo and to adore him and love him. Why? Why is Yonatan so special? Ki hu haya domelo. Gentlemen, he was like, what do you call that in English? The spitting image of David. The same attributes in David are in Yonatan. What are the 5 character traits? Yodea Nagain knows how to play. Yonatan knows how to play music. That's what he's suggesting. Number 2, he's a Gibor Chayil. Number 3, he's a man of war. Each to a good-looking man. V'navon Davai understands things. In other words, have you ever stood at a lake? At the edge of the lake, and you look into the water, what do you see?
Seaweed.
Seaweed? Let's say the water's clean.
Oh, okay.
What do you see when you look into the water? You see your reflection. You see your reflection. Maybe we can say safely that the reflection of Yonatan is David. That's what he sees in David. He sees himself. They're like one. They're like one. And with this we'll end today's shiur. On the pasuk that we opened up the chapter, V'nefesh Yonatan nikshera was connected B'nefesh David. Rav Bachrach first brings the Malbim, and one of the Achronim, and then Ha'amek Davar the Netziv, and then the Al Shech HaKadosh from Tzfat. We'll see that. What does it mean that the soul of Yonatan is connected to the soul of David? Rotzel Omar, it means to say. See where I'm reading from? Rotzel Omar. Shemitzad Ruach HaGvura V'Kedusha Haya Kesher V'Tchabrut B'Nefesh Ki HaDomeh Yimashech V'Yishtokek El HaDomeh. The Malbim says, very simple, gentlemen.
Yishtokek is like desire, right?
Yishtokek is very deep desire. Why is the Nefesh of Yonatan connected to the Nefesh of David? Because they both had the spirit of courage and holiness, and that connected the souls. Why? Because what's similar is attracted to something similar. 2 similar things are attracted to one another. So he's supporting this idea. The attributes of Yonatan and David are shared. That's what the Malbim says. You're attracted to people that are similar to you. You notice people, your friends, that you choose your friends. Someone told me you choose your friends. I'm sure you like other people as well, but you have more friends. When you see in someone something similar to you, you're attracted to it. You see generosity, you see honesty, you see humility, you see things that you have in yourself, you're attracted to those type of people. It's part of the nature of the teva, of the nefesh that God created inside us. That's what Yonatan sees in David. He sees like the spitting image. That's what the Malbim says. Ha'mek davar, right? I bring it often. We have the Netziv Volozhin, his commentary on the Chumash, not on Sefer Shmuel. So he's quoting Ha'mek davar from Nitzavim, the book of Dvarim, chapter 30. The teva shel ahava. There the Torah talks about loving Hashem, your Lord. The Netziv says the nature of love eino ela ayedei hishtavut ha'ohev ve'anehav. When there's equality between the one loving and the one loved, that's where nature of love is. You're attracted to love an object, okay, that you see eye to eye with. We're talking about intellectually, if you ascertain, okay, the virtues of the one you love. If you see the virtues, you adore them, you identify with them, they're similar to you, you love it. So we'll stop here now that we have a greater understanding of this great matter of David and Yonatan.